Keep it like that, okay?
Test.
I was wondering if that was him with.
Whenever you're ready.
At this time, I would like to call to order the City of North Ridgeville Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting for Thursday, April 27th. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Will the clerk please call roll?
Members of the board, Kane,
Here.
Ali, Kimball,
Here.
Thibodeau is excused, Masterson,
Here.
members of the administration, Council Liaison Winkle,
Here.
Chief Building Official Furston,
Here.
Assistant Law Director Morgan,
Here.
Planning and Development Director Lieber,
Here.
Are there any planning commission reports? Mr. Ali?
Nothing at this time.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes dated March 23rd? Are there any corrections at this time? Hearing none, they are accepted as presented. Are there any other reports or correspondence?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
in the absence of Member Thibodeau, I'd just like to report on the master plan.
please do.
That last evening, the steering committee convened at the senior center for the fourth steering committee meeting, where the group was presented with analysis and data around infrastructure, parks and recreation, health and safety, and other topics, and also began establishing goals for the plan. The next meeting will be June 7th, and another round, the second round of public engagement will be planned probably around the July timeframe. So as we get closer, we'll share more information about how to get involved in those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Will the clerk please read the first application?
PPZ 2023-0183, Royal Smokes, 35100 Center Ridge Road, PPN 07-00021-116053. Applicant Neon City 11500, Madison Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. Proposal consists of building signage. Property is zoned B3 Highway Commercial District. Requests, proposal consists of building signage. Property is zoned B3 Highway Commercial District. Oops, said it again. The request is a 20 square foot variance for area of building signs. Applicant shows 80 square feet of signage. Code permits 60 square feet. Section 1286.05C2. Note, signs have been installed. And chief building official comments. 1268.05C2, signs located on buildings allowed 2 square foot of sign for every 1 linear foot of building. Building signs have always been regulated, so each tenant was allowed their proportionate share of building sign. Applicant allowed 60 square foot of building sign. 30 linear foot times 2 equals 60 square feet. Applicant requesting 2 building signs totaling 80 square foot, 20 linear foot times 2 foot high equals 40 square foot times 2 signs equals 80 square feet, requiring a 20 square foot variance. 80 square foot equals 60 square foot variance minus equals 20 square foot. BZBA approval required.
Wait a second. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of this matter? Any and all people that are going to speak, I need to have you come to the podium so that I can swear you in. Can you state your name and address for the record so I can swear you in?
Iyad Ali, I'm the owner of the sign company. Address is 11500 Madison Avenue.
Okay. Do you swear that the statements that you are about to make in front of this Board of Zoning and Building Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of law of
Yes, I do.
perjury? All right. Tell us about your application.
We have applied.
Actually, 1 second. I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt you. I do need to have the administration
Sure.
clarify because it's come to our attention.
Madam Chair, if I could provide some additional information to the board.
Yes, please.
It came to our attention just in closer review of the application. We had noted that the applicant had indicated the sign being 2 feet by 20 feet long. And indeed, that is the height of the letters and the width of the letters of the sign that's being proposed. But upon closer inspection, that was not the full height and width of the background upon which the sign was installed. And as we review the code language that talks about, the surface area of the sign being computed as to include the area, to include any material or color used to differentiate the sign from the environment or surroundings in which it's placed. Once we looked at that language in the code, we really have to consider the full height and width of that background color. The applicant has indicated that that is a 4-foot height by a 20-foot length, in which case both signs would be 80 square feet each for a total of 160 square feet, where 60 square feet would normally be permitted. So that changes the variance somewhat in terms of it's a 100 square foot variance. To further complicate matters, based upon the information submitted by the applicant, permit was issued for one of the signs post-installation. So one sign has been granted a permit, and that's, again, just a further wrinkle we'll need to iron out here in our proceedings this evening.
Madam Chair, may
Yes.
I elaborate on that as well? Because one sign has already been permitted, the square footage for this sign is, all of it ends up being a variance. He's already used up what would normally be permitted for this building.
Mr. Furston, is there anything you want to clarify? But
They've pretty much explained the error. From the drawing we originally saw, we thought the sign was only 2 foot by 20 feet, but that's not the case. The actual background portion is larger, and that wasn't indicated on the drawing submitted for the permit.
okay. So now, tell us a little bit about.
Can I say first, or shall I respond on each one individually?
Well, first off, I'd like to know why you put the signs up without a permit.
Okay. We have applied to the city of North Ridgeville. We submit the application. At that time, we were not registered. So it takes some times for the application to go through the process. So as soon as they approved it, I was contacted by one of their employees from basically I was contacted by Tina to come and pay for the permits. The application consists of 2 signs, not one. First of all, that it went through the whole entire procedure of the building process. So why did they approve one sign instead of on the same application it was not mentioned that, oh, we're gonna approve one sign. However, the owner of the building, the owner of the business, when we submitted the application, was a 20 feet by 2 feet for each sign. And the application consists 100% that, you know what, we have 2 signs, each sign 20 feet by 2. However, the business owners, he says, instead of painting the back, so give it a nice look, so what we did, we put a backing on the sign. So it gives it this nice look. Now they're saying that, you know what, they consider it as a 4 feet. Okay, well, you know what, we turn the sign off and they'll be only the consist of the 20 feet by 2 feet. And also, instead of the back, they'll paint the behind the sign. So that's one thing. Second of all, at that time, we installed the sign. I was contacted by the inspector. He says, you installed the sign without the permit? I said, no, the sign has been approved. So what I did, I thought he's upset. I ran to the city and I paid for the permit. I paid for the permit and I got the application and I left. I was contacted again by Tina. She says, well, your sign is oversized. The sign is oversized and you have to submit either a variance applications or take one of the signs down. I said, well, you know what? If these are the options, what we'll do, we'll submit a variance application. Now she just mentioned the sign considered as 4 feet instead of 2 feet. I don't understand. First of all, we submit the application for 2 signage. We did not go behind the building department that, you know, said, oh, you know, it's 2 signs. I never heard of one application, you give me a permit for 1 signage. I never heard of it. I've been in the business for over 27 years, you know? But anyway, we're here to solve the issues. I mean, is it 4 feet or is it 2 feet or what is the requirement? If it's 1 linear foot, one square per linear foot on the allowable square feet, which is, it comes out like 88 feet, and 1 sign is it 4 feet you want to consider it, or 2 feet?
If you'd like, here's a copy of our ordinance in regards to the sign, and what I'm gonna do is let Mr. Fursden or Ms. Lieber respond. Who would like to respond?
If it's 4 feet, we could, you know, take the back.
You had a question,
Yes.
sir. I'd like to deal with
Yes.
one at a time. Who would like to address what his concerns are?
Madam Chair, it sounds like the question is in regards to the background.
Well, what I'm hearing from him is he doesn't understand why he needed a permit at all. Did anybody explain to you for the second sign that a variance was required?
My understanding, I submit 1 application for both signs. You know, that application, it says 2 sets of signs, 1 located on the front and 1 located on the side.
Okay,
And I have
now
a
I'm gonna
copy of
have Chief Building Official Fursden explain what happened, please, sir.
You submitted an application, but you don't put 2 signs on 1 application. Technically, there should have been an application for each sign. Just like if I built 2 buildings, I don't do 1 application for 2 buildings, I do an application for each building. That's standard practice across the state.
no, it's not. I object
I'm sorry,
to
but
that.
in my opinion, it is, and I've
I've
dealt
been in
with
the
many,
business 27
many
years.
cities
I
throughout
have-
the state.
I have worked with the cities throughout the whole entire state of Ohio. The application consists, is there is any other signs on the building? You consider, no. I submit two applications. This is not building. When you have a new infrastructure, I'm a civil engineer, and I know how to, as an engineering, for signage, any city in the state of Ohio consists of, it asks you basically on the application, do you have any other signs on the building? The application consists of two sets of signage. It's not, I have to submit. Now you're telling me this. Why was not approved to your employee, passed on to your employee to verify that at the time that I have submitted the application? Not now after 2-3 months.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Lieber?
So it appears from the permit application, it's stamped received on January 12th. And there's a communication, it was entered into the system, it appears on the 17th. There's a note on the residential plan approval application. On January 17th, our building department employee contacted Neon City and indicated someone from your company dropped off a wall sign application. We require the following additional information. So she listed 4 different things that needed to be submitted to the city, prior to any permit being issued. My understanding is that, prior to any permit being issued, these signs were installed such that the time the applicant did go in to finally pay for the permit and pick up the permit, it was too late for them to have discovered the notations on said permit application from the building official that said only one sign is approved.
You're telling me you did not put the signs up?
If the sign was not approved, how could I get the permit for it?
No, I asked you a question, sir. Were the signs installed prior to the permit
No,
being?
it was approved, and then I received a call from Tina. She says, whatever they say that the 4 things that was requested, no. They will never be able to issue the permit if there's anything missing or anything.
Okay, well, that's a semantic.
I have approved by the city of North Ridgeville for the permit. It was approved. I installed it. I came down. I paid for it.
Madam Chair?
I will never install the
Excuse me,
sign
sir.
if it was
Sir.
not approved. If it was
Sir.
not approved.
We have the right to ask you questions.
Yes, absolutely. I accept.
All right. And if I do ask you to please respect, thank you. Mr.
Thank you.
Kimball.
So, sir, is this your submission that you gave to the city?
That is correct.
And this is not what is built, is that correct?
It's the same one it's built.
That is not the same that's built. I was just out there on the way here.
The only thing is beside the red, it was tacky. They changed it to black.
Okay.
That's-
So
I looked
This
at the
shows-
front and then,
could you show me where the black backing is on here?
can I?
Please,
Of course you can.
on this picture right here?
No, I submit a different. There's another one that it has the back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's multi.
If you could go back to, because we got to record everything. So this one does not have it. But then also by your own admission, you said you installed the signs and then you went and paid for them. Is that correct?
It was approved and then I paid for it. Installed and then I paid.
Okay.
Yes. I think it was like on the weekend and then we came. That's fine.
But you installed the signs prior to paying for the permit.
That is correct.
That is not legal.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
he keeps stating application. So did he apply for a business license in Ridgeville
Yes.
and then put up the signs and come back for a permit, which are 2 separate things?
Is he a registered contractor, sir?
Yes.
Was that after the signs were installed or prior to the signs being installed? Okay. All right, so so you were aware that you had to apply for a variance and that's why you're here?
Yeah.
Okay. Does
I'm here to
anybody
s-
else have anything else to talk on this matter? Does anybody else have any questions, concerns? I thought this gentleman wanted to had something to say.
No, the next issue. You just can't hear very well.
There is only one issue.
Oh, there's not the Sergeant Clean? How about?
No.
That got postponed to next month,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Okay.
We're from Petrocom Corporation, which is next to,
Yeah, you're gonna have to come next. Yeah, it got pulled. I apologize.
oh, it's okay, he got this letter. Okay, well, I got the letter.
Yes. Sorry about that. I apologize
it's
for you
okay.
staying here. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Okay. We don't, sorry to interrupt this one.
No. I just don't want you to have to sit if you don't have to.
I apologize. We're here to solve whatever, we're not going, pointing the finger at, there's, there's something wrong and we're here to fix it. The owner here, the owner of the business. So whatever, we want to comply with whatever that approval of the building department. We're not gonna, if we have to take the back, that makes it, the sign bigger, we'll take it down. Whatever you comply with the law and rules, that with all the respect to you, we will do here. That's why we're here. We're here to solve the issues. If the background makes
Okay.
it 4 feet, sure, we'll take it down and, we'll do whatever it takes to make
Well-
everybody happy.
Well, right now, the application as it's submitted is not correct. That needs to be addressed.
If we have to file for another application and pay for the second signage, we will be.
We're more
we
than
will do that.
likely we're gonna have to amend the application. Assistant Law Director Morgan, what are your suggestions on that?
Well, as I indicated, and there's some discussion about how big this particular variance is. If both signs are 4 feet tall, are both signs the same size?
Same size.
So depending on how you look at them, it was represented, or it looked like in what was submitted to us, that they were both 40 square feet and you needed the 20 variance. But if you include actually the entire sign, it's double that. They're 80 square feet. So the one sign, which was permitted, whether inadvertently or there does appear to be a permit, at least for one sign, takes up all the square footage you're allowed. So that makes this variance very large. You're indicating that you're willing to adjust these signs, perhaps take off this backing. You might be better served to make those sorts of adjustments and ask that this be reconsidered maybe at a different meeting. Because the way it looks here, you're asking for a really
100%
large variance, and
variance.
those are not
Can I-
usually favored.
Over 100% variance.
Can I
Sure.
comment? Okay. If, now I understand, because you consider the 4 feet high because the halo, because it gives it a shadow on this, so it's considered as a 4 feet. What if we turned off the halo off and painted the back white so it match the back? And you will see only the sign, the 2 feet by 20 feet.
So
Well, that's a discussion you wouldn't have with the law department. That would be a building department, an economic
I'm just,
development department
I wanna see
discussion.
what is a
That's why it
solution.
might
The
be better
problem, what we're trying to tell you
to
is,
have that discussion.
the first sign, the Royal Smoke sign, is asking for in excess of 100% variance. So it's going to take a lot more than just taking, the back would have to come off. So what I'm suggesting to you, and it's entirely your call, right now, you have an option of asking us to table this and reconsider your application because the dimensions presented to us are not what is actually there.
I mean, and
Mr. Kimball, did you want to add anything?
There was one thing that I wanted to point out. You mentioned you could just take the halo or the backing off,
Yeah,
right?
take it
And
off.
then you even mentioned that you would just paint the building.
the board, the black,
Yes.
so to match.
No.
the-
Before your last comment where you'd paint it white, you had mentioned earlier, sir, please let me finish. You mentioned earlier you could just take it down and just paint the building, and basically, I took it as you would essentially achieve the same thing. Was that what you were meaning?
Yeah. same.
Okay, our ordinance prevents that as well. So you can't do that. So it's either the letters, how they are with no backing, or you're asking for,
Letters, no backing.
okay, letters, no backing, and the building color has to stay the way it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
the way it is.
Well, then your first sign would be 40 square feet, which, so let's say hypothetically the backings are gone. So you had 40 square feet, so the frontage facing Center Ridge that we see in the top right-hand corner that just says Royal Smokes
Okay.
would be permitted. And then you'd still be allowed to have 20 additional square feet that you could put on the side of the building if you so choose. But the existing size that it has now, you would have to be asking for a variance for that. And this is all with the hypothetical situation that all the backings are removed from both sides. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Just, if we turned off the halo, and we cut the sign, I'm trying to minimize the cost for the owner, so he will not spend not much money. What we'll do, can we just shave it to the height of the letters and no lights on the,
My problem is that you installed the sign without the permits being issued. You made a mistake, and you're asking for forgiveness for a mistake that you made. That sets a precedent, and I just spent the last 2 months having an argument over signs, about sizes of signs. And if this is what you do for a living, you should have known what the rules and regulations are, and you should have had a copy of the building code. I understand that there was an error made. So, what we're telling you is what is presented to us. It is our,
okay.
no, by all means. Every time I speak, you want to cut me off, so
No, no,
by
I
all
just-
means, please
I'm
do.
just-
And just tell me when I can finish a conversation.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I apologize.
So you are here for forgiveness from what the ordinance states, okay? It is not our job to tell you what you can do to accommodate it or anything. All we can do is rule on what is presented to us. What was submitted to us and what in reality are two different things. Instead of asking for one variance, you're asking for a variance that exceeds 100%. So therefore, I'm giving you the opportunity that you can ask us to table your application so that you can meet with the building department and find out what would be allowed, what would not be allowed. If you choose to decline that, which is also your right, then we will take a vote on the application and we will have to amend it to reflect what is actually there. So, we can still keep debating this. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to add? Did I miss anything? Anybody want to add anything? Anybody in the audience want to add? Join in? Okay, would you like to come to the podium, Dennis? And while I know who you are, I'm going to need to have you.
Dennis Booth, 6405 Denise Drive, North Ridgeville, Ohio.
Do you swear that the statements that you are about to make in front of this Board of Zoning and Building Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Booth.
Just 2 points. One, I agree with the conversation from the committee. I think it's a huge variance. And again, added to the point that we're asking for forgiveness, not permission, is another sticking point with me. So I agree with where the discussion is leading. And then second, just a question. I've been to many of these over the years, but I can't
have seen you for the last 20 years, dear.
I can't recall when the building owner was not the applicant versus the sign company. And I didn't know if that was in error or something that I just was not aware of. Thank you.
It can be either or. Did you want to say something? Georgia, just come on up. So I'm going to need to swear you in. Can you please state your name and address for the record, and I'll swear you in?
Yeah, Georgia Awig, 9125 Quail Court, North Ridgeville.
Do you swear that the statements that you are about to make in front of this board and zoning building appeals for the city of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
I do.
Okay.
My question is, if you table it, okay, what happens to the signs that he currently has on the building in between now and the future discussion? Do those need to be taken down, or are those allowed to stay until it's discussed further?
Madam Law Director, or Kim, somebody?
Again, I don't think they would make him necessarily take him down and wait. I mean,
Is there
once
something
they have
that,
a conversation, then they can decide what to do. We wouldn't have to do it twice.
Typically, we would allow it to exist the way it is until the board makes a determination.
okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, George? Okay, you can go back on up.
You want me to respond on?
You can talk about whatever you want.
Usually what we do, when we submit an application to the city, what happens that we take the artwork, it's the requirement to have approval of the landlord. So what we do, we send the artwork to the landlord and they sign off on it. We take that approval and we submit it to the city, if that answered your question. Also, I was advised to take one of the signs down. You know, if we have to do that to make everybody satisfied and play with within the guidelines, probably we'll take one of the signs down on the front, make it, shrink it, whatever it needs to be done to come to a solution. I'm willing to sit down with the building department and, you know, discuss it and to have a satisfaction for each one.
Okay, so you're willing to table this?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. You know, I don't want to, you know, point the finger at nobody and things like that. You know,
Is there any other discussion? Okay, I make a motion to table this to our next meeting.
A second.
Tina, will you please call roll?
Kane,
Yes.
Ali,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Masterson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. And then after the meeting, you're more than welcome to have a discussion with anybody if you'd like,
Oh.
okay?
thank you, appreciate you, and I apologize, you know.
That's okay. I just have a problem when somebody already, personally, I have a problem when somebody asks for forgiveness, especially, that's what I've been dealing with the entire year is sign variances.
You know what, North Ridgeville is one of the greatest cities. I choose to move to North Ridgeville the past 15 years. I've been living in North Ridgeville, and you know what, it's one of the easiest city to deal with. You know, off the record, honest to God.
Okay.
I've dealt with a lot of cities, but you know what? You have a very professional employees that, you know what?
Yes, we do.
Mistakes could happen, and we're here to solve the issues. No, you know, no hard feelings and things like that. You know,
Okay.
I appreciate you all.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
If there's no more business in front of the board, I adjourn this meeting.